Hi everyone. So we continue our discussion on the topic of the major case that I have talked to you about in the previous videos, which is IC Golaknath and others versus State of Punjab and another 1967. Now this is the full name of the case. We'll just refer to this as Golaknath case for the reference, for the convenience here in this segment. Now let's understand firstly. So we'll try to see, in brief that what all details are there about this case in particular. Firstly, the whole idea is that what this case dealt with. So it dealt with that I have already shared earlier also, it dealt with the amendment, or let's say you say the amending power. So amending power of parliament with respect to fundamental rights. The idea here only was about the fundamental rights, that whether the parliament can amend fundamental rights or not, and which is conferred under part 3 of the constitution. We have to be very specific in the wordings. So the whole idea was that can the Parliament of India amend the fundamental rights of Indian citizens, and also is a constitutional amendment under article 368 a just and ordinary law under article 13(2). Okay, this was the whole idea. Now let's first understand, every case has a background. I hope you understand about it. So let's first understand about the background of this case. What was the whole idea happening behind it? Now in the year, this case is about 1967. So हम थोड़ा पीछे जा रहे हैं, हम बात कर रहे हैं 1953 में. What happened in 1953? उस टाइम पे जो पंजाब की स्टेट गवर्नमेंट थी, ठीक है, द देन पंजाब स्टेट गवर्नमेंट, ये लोग एक एक्ट लेके आए थे. दे हैड कम अप विथ एन एक्ट. द एक्ट्स नेम वाज पंजाब सिक्योरिटी ऑफ लैंड टेन्योर्स एक्ट 1953, and they had kept this act under 9th schedule of the constitution. If you would notice the schedule that I have given you, weekly schedule, that is why I have a section on the property related issues, the right to property, and 9th schedule specifically, because from here only you will see those references, and then when the Keshwananda Bharti case comes, this reference comes again. Okay, so for the time being you just need to know. I of course cannot deal all of that in detail because इसके लिए एक separate topic है. Just know कि placing any act under 9th schedule then was basically giving the idea that that would be protected from the judicial review. उस पर कोई judiciary का review नहीं हो सकता है, ठीक है. तो एक immunity मिल जाती थी. The acts used to get that immunity if they were placed under the 9th schedule. So the state government passed this act and kept it under the 9th schedule of the constitution. By initially it was not kept under 9th schedule of course, because originally हमारे पास 8th schedule थे. First constitutional amendment act से हमारे पास 9th schedule आया, and this act was specifically kept under 9th schedule by 17th constitutional amendment act. You just need to focus on the years actually, ठीक है. 53 में act आया and 64 में it was kept under the 9th schedule. At that point of time, the right to hold and acquire property, we are talking about that point of time, not today. Today things have changed and therefore we will see the changed aspect of the right to property. But then this right to hold and acquire property, it was a fundamental right under article 19(1)(f). Now also you know that under article 19 we have the right, ठीक है. उस समय 19 clause 1 sub clause f में there was this fundamental right which said that you have the right to hold and acquire property. Now what was the issue? So there was a family in Punjab. In Punjab there was this family, Golaknath family. Golaknath family में क्या हुआ, उनके पास they had more than 500 acres of land. ठीक है, अपना उनके पास जो भी land था वो more than 500 acres का था. But problem was that under this act it was said that the state government had allowed only 30 acres to be kept with one individual. और उन्होंने बोला if anybody would have any extra land than 30 acres, so the rest land would be treated as surplus land. Now you see the contradiction here. On one hand, you have the right to hold and acquire property as a fundamental right. So basically whatever property you have, you can keep it. It is yours only, nobody can question. But on the other hand, the act says that only 30 acres can be kept. However, the family already had more than 500 acres of land. So यहाँ पे सारा contradiction, I hope it should be clear. This whole problem arose. So in this case, what happened? To get their fundamental rights under article 32, what happens? This is also a fundamental right. ठीक है, जब डिटेल करेंगे तो आपको ये रेफरेंसेस अच्छे से समझ आएंगे. अंडर आर्टिकल 32 बेसिकली व्हाट यू कैन डू, 32 इज अबाउट राइट टू कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल रेमेडीज. व्हाट इज राइट टू कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल रेमेडीज? which means if your fundamental rights are infringed or taken away, you can go to the court and ask that my right has been taken away. ठीक है. So under 32, गोलकनाथ filed a writ petition. रिट्स भी किस किस तरह के ऑर्डर्स जो निकलते हैं कोर्ट से वो भी हम देखेंगे अंडर आर्टिकल 32 जब हम बात करेंगे. बट ही फाइल्ड रिट पिटिशन और उन्होंने बोला दैट ये जो एक्ट है स्टेट गवर्नमेंट द्वारा, दिस वायलेटेड their fundamental right. Why? Because they already had a fundamental right then in the constitution, which was right to hold and acquire property. I hope you have got the issue clear now. This is the background. Then what happened further? So further in the developments of the case, there were arguments coming from both the sides. That is obvious. So who was the petitioner? Petitioner matlab who had filed the petition? Petitioner was Golaknath. उन्होंने बोला that my right to acquire property is being taken away by this act by the state government, right? So arguments of petitioner जो हैं गोलकनाथ, इनके arguments हम समझेंगे, and then we will also understand the arguments of respondent. Respondent मतलब जिसके against में ये फाइल किया गया है और जिसको respond करना है. So who is the respondent here? Of course state of Punjab, because it was a act passed by the पंजाब गवर्नमेंट ओनली. सो स्टेट ऑफ पंजाब. ठीक है, अब हम समझते हैं आर्ग्यूमेंट्स जो कि गोलकनाथ जी ने दिए अपने साइड से एज अ पिटिशनर. सबसे पहले इनका जो कहना था वो ये कहना था, मतलब ऑफकोर्स लॉयर्स ने जो दिए इनके साइड से ये कहना था कि अंडर आर्टिकल 3 अंडर पार्ट 3 अगर हम बोलते हैं जो फंडामेंटल राइट्स हैं, दे आर एसेंशियल एंड इंटीग्रल पार्ट ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन. ठीक है, so of course that is very important. So fundamental rights are essential and integral part of constitution and cannot be taken away by parliamentary act. यहाँ पे ये बात नहीं हो रही है कि अभी हम अमेंडमेंट एक्ट की बात कर रहे हैं, बिकॉज इट वॉज जस्ट एन एक्ट दैट वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट. तो अभी भी किसी भी तरीके के एक्ट्स इसको हम ले नहीं सकते हैं. एंड कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन विदाउट फंडामेंटल राइट इज जस्ट लाइक अ बॉडी विदाउट अ सोल. ठीक है, दिस वॉज द आर्ग्यूमेंट गिवन. Then it is also said that the constitution which was made by the constituent assembly had made the constitution. It said that it is of a permanent nature. The constitution that they have made is of permanent nature, and any changes if they are making into the constitution to make it align with the present situation, it should be in accordance with. ठीक है, so any change should be in accordance विथ बेसिक आइडिया. अभी बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर डॉक्ट्रिन की बात नहीं हो रही है, ये पिटिशनर के साइड से आर्ग्यूमेंट है कि देयर आर सर्टेन बेसिक आइडियाज इन द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, उसके साथ ये काम करते रहना चाहिए. थर्ड आर्ग्यूमेंट गिवन वॉज अबाउट आर्टिकल 368 एंड इट सेड दैट इट मियरली प्रिस्क्राइब्स द प्रोसीजियर. इसमें तो लिखा हुआ था ना, इफ़ यू रिमेंबर वी हैव डन द आर्टिकल्स. इफ आई जस्ट शो यू, देयर वॉज अ वर्डिंग हियर, power of the parliament to amend the constitution and procedure thereafter. Therefore, it is very clearly written here that they have to consider the procedure which is given in this particular article. So it said that article 368 is prescribing the amendment procedure. ठीक है, and therefore the parliament has no authority to amend. ये इनका argument था. We are not telling it is right or wrong. We are just telling इनके साइड से आर्ग्यूमेंट्स क्या दिए गए. अनदर थिंग इज, इन्होंने बोला अंडर आर्टिकल 13(2) जो क्लॉज 2 को लेके सारा इशू था, लॉ इंक्लूड्स स्टैचुअरी लॉज तो हैं ही उसमें, कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल ऑल्सो. जो भी कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल रिलेटेड होगा वो भी इसमें इंक्लूडेड है, विच ऑल्सो मीन्स दैट इफ एनी लॉ विल वायलेट द फंडामेंटल राइट अंडर पार्ट 3 it should be considered as void, because this is of course the argument that has to be, this is very logical also. You don't have to rote memorize. If you understand, you will find the logic. जो इनका कहानी है, if you understand this background, you will understand what logics will be given. Now how did the state respond? इनको भी अपने defense में कुछ तो बोलना होगा. इनका कहना था, the arguments given by the state was firstly that power to amend the constitution is an exercise of sovereign power, and it is different. They said that this is different from parliament's legislative power. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे उन्होंने इस चीज़ को बिल्कुल अलग ही बता दिया. नेक्स्ट इज अनदर आर्ग्यूमेंट गिवन बाय देम वाज दैट, जहाँ पे ये इन्होंने इसको कॉन्ट्राडिक्ट करते हुए दैट इट इज़ ऑफ अ परमानेंट नेचर एंड यू कैन नॉट जस्ट ऐसे ही चेंज इट, एंड इवन इफ सम चेंज हैज़ टू बी ब्रॉट, इसको बेसिक आइडिया में लेना है. तो इस क्वेश्चन को बोलते हुए कि चेंज करेंगे कि नहीं, तो इन्होंने बोला कि डेफिनेटली देयर आर चेंजेस इन सोसाइटी एंड वी नीड चेंजेस इन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ऑल्सो. ठीक है, अदरवाइज क्या हो जाएगा, कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन विल बिकम वेरी रिजिड इन नेचर. थर्ड वॉज दैट ऑल कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल प्रोविजंस are of equal importance and equal status, and therefore we do not give any special status to fundamental rights. I hope you understand again, because here the whole idea was about the questioning of fundamental rights, and here it was given that fundamental rights are essential and integral and cannot be taken away by the acts. So here the state said that all the provisions of the constitution are important and they have equal status, they are equally important. So why are you assigning any special status to fundamental rights? These were the arguments given by the petitioner also and the state also, respondent also. Let's see what happened further in the case. So the judgment, now it's time for the judgment. ठीक है, what the judiciary had to say. So judgment में क्या चीज़ें बाहर निकल के आई गोलकनाथ केस में. जजमेंट में कहा गया, अच्छा, प्रायर टू गोलकनाथ केस what was happening that you already know, so I'll just repeat it for you because we have already done it in the previous video. Firstly, what was said by Supreme Court, that no part of the constitution was unamendable, which also meant that parliament can easily amend any part including fundamental right and article 368, and law included only ordinary legislation, तो उसमें कोई भी constitutional amendment के लिए जगह नहीं थी. ठीक है, so we have done it earlier. In case you are forgetting or if you have not checked the earlier video, this is what you are supposed to see. Before Golaknath case, in Golaknath case and after Golaknath case. ठीक है, this is how you have to see. So do check the earlier video जहाँ हमने बात करी that parliament could amend any part of constitution including fundamental rights. Article 13(2) में जो law है, it referred to only ordinary legislation. ठीक है, and it does not include any constitutional amendment. ये बात हो गई. तो before गोलकनाथ केस यही चल रहा होता था prior to that. What happened in this case? We also know the judgment here, so again there is no point repeating. Let's check from here only because you have already written it. So it said that यहाँ पर जो 11 जजेस में 6 जजेस की जो मेजॉरिटी बेंच थी, they overruled the previous decision. और यहाँ पे उन्होंने इस चीज़ को क्या कहा, that fundamental rights have a specific nature, they have a very important nature, and they cannot be subjected to the amendment under article 368. And if you have to make any amendment in the fundamental rights, you have a new body like a constituent assembly, you convene a new body to make the constitution or to have any kind of radical changes in it. Also the power to amend is a legislative power under article 245. So constitutional amendment act was a law within the purview of article 13 clause 2. ठीक है, आई होप इसमें कोई कोई इशू नहीं होना चाहिए. सो बिफोर द केस एंड इन द केस what was the situation that you see now, the same thing is what we are discussing here also, so I am not written. ठीक है, so this also we have done earlier. Now the case is कि what is the importance of this judgment. Judgment तो हमें समझ में आ गया, but then what is the importance of this judgment. ठीक है, ओवरऑल जुडिशरी में हम इसको आगे कैसे देखते हैं. सो इम्पॉर्टेंस में सबसे पहली जो चीज़ थी कि इट इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट दैट सुप्रीम कोर्ट वाज चेकिंग दैट पार्लियामेंट do not come up with any exercise and just try to exercise its own power. The Supreme Court also held that Parliament cannot amend the fundamental rights, क्योंकि अभी तक क्या हो रहे थे, देखिए, सुप्रीम कोर्ट हेल्ड दैट पार्लियामेंट कांट अमेंड फंडामेंटल राइट्स. अब उसका सिग्निफिकेंस क्या है? सिंस 1950 जब से कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन इन्फोर्स हुआ, पार्लियामेंट अंडर आर्टिकल 368 पास्ड न्यूमरस लेजिस्लेशंस. तब से उन्होंने ऐसे बहुत सारे लेजिस्लेशंस जो हैं वो पास करे थे दैट वायलेटेड फंडामेंटल राइट्स. ठीक है, तो जब ये फंडामेंटल राइट्स को वायलेट होने वाले टिल नाउ मेनी अमेंडमेंट्स मेनी एक्ट्स वर पास्ड और लेजिस्लेशंस, सुप्रीम कोर्ट का ये कहना दैट पार्लियामेंट कैन नॉट अमेंड फंडामेंटल राइट डेफिनेटली हेल्ड इम्पोर्टेंस. उसके अलावा सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने ये भी कहा दैट फंडामेंटल राइट्स आर प्राइमोडियल राइट्स, विच मीन्स यू नो सबसे प्राइमरी राइट्स हैं, सबसे पुराने राइट्स हैं, सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट राइट्स हैं विच एवरीबडी शुड गेट, and they are necessary for the development of human personality. So they are necessary for the development of human personality. You never know if in mains they ask you ever to analyze a particular case in reference to any current affairs topic. So you be prepared with what we are doing right now. The judgment also provided for. Now this is a very important term. Usually लोग legal aspects में use करते हैं, but आप इसको GS में भी कर सकते हो because this is important. The judgment provided for prospective overruling of law. What is एक होता है retrospective. Retrospective मतलब if today a law is passed, it is going to be applicable and valid from the back date. So for the earlier laws also passed, it would be valid. But it was prospective, which means that the effect of the law will be applicable on future dates only. ठीक है, so effects of law will be applicable on future dates only, which means any past decision is not going to be affected by this particular decision. नहीं तो फिर it would be very chaotic ना, because we have seen that earlier also they had passed certain legislations which violated fundamental rights, but they didn't go back to all those legislations and try to modify them. They just said कि यहाँ के आगे अब ऐसा होगा कि parliament will not be allowed to अमेंड द फंडामेंटल राइट्स. अभी हम केशवानंद भारती पे नहीं पहुँचे हैं जहाँ पे अलग रूलिंग आई थी. अभी आप सिर्फ गोलकनाथ को फोकस करोगे. ठीक है, एंड ओवरऑल इफ़ यू टॉक अबाउट द इम्पैक्ट, यू नो द इम्पैक्ट वी हैव सीन इन द लास्ट क्लास ऑल्सो कि पार्लियामेंट एज रिटेलिएशन उन्होंने क्या करा. सो इम्पैक्ट में हम क्या जानेंगे दैट पार्लियामेंट ट्राइड टू सुपरसीड, सो सुपरसीडिंग द सुप्रीम कोर्ट जजमेंट इन द गोलकनाथ केस रूलिंग. इन्होंने क्या करा, दे अमेंडेड आर्टिकल 368 एंड 13 इटसेल्फ, दोनों में दे एडेड one clause and they did it by passing 24th कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल अमेंडमेंट एक्ट 1971. और इसके अंदर में क्या बोला गया था that an amendment of the constitution under article 368 will not be considered as law under article 13. ये हमने देखा था जहाँ पे ये चीज़ बहुत ही क्लियर हो गई थी. दिस वॉज द होल थिंग दैट दे डिड आफ्टर गोलकनाथ केस. ठीक है, पार्लियामेंट ने क्या करा, अमेंडमेंट कर दिया आर्टिकल 368 एंड 13 में 24th अमेंडमेंट एक्ट पास करके, और कहा गया दैट कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल अमेंडमेंट which is passed under article 368 will not be considered as law under article 13. and article 368 में clause डाल के कहा गया that इसमें जो भी changes रहेंगे they will not be questioned on the ground that there has been violation of the fundamental right. and then later case में this was challenged in the केशवानंद भारती case. but अभी तक की story में what are the things, before गोलकनाथ case what was happening, in Golaknath case what was the judgment, and after Golaknath case what was the response of the parliament to overpass it or surpass it, which was passing of 24th Amendment Act. I hope now the Golaknath case, the details as needed only for GS perspective should be clear to you. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care till then. Bye bye.